Yeah. It's from the logo. It's episode 20 something.
Mm.
It's your host every Tuesday. The greatest thing since sliced cheese. ZZ
Mm.
Huncho in the building alongside the boy, old head Jalen Carter, fresh
Mm.
off a birthday last week. Jalen, tell the people how you feeling, brother.
Man, we feeling all right. You know, the Nuggets going up on Denver here now looks so good for the old checking account. But that's we need to figure that out. Like I said, David
Lord.
Shaq, I need a raise, man. Gotta pay these bets. Looking like I need Denver to come back here, man. I need Denver to come back. What's good, Hayes?
Hayes is
Um,
in the building. Hayes,
it's
tell the people how you doing.
been a good
I'm doing mainly okay, bro. I mean, we got to see the the decimation of one Arbery Graham. So that was fun. That was fun.
Decimation is crazy.
That was fun.
Lord have mercy.
It was a cute little win for Kendrick. It was a cute little win.
It was more than a cute little win. I mean, when you got brands pulling out $1 million deals, you did what needed to be done. You did
what brands pulled out? I didn't get
Pepsi pulled out of a deal with him.
Oh, with Drake?
And then I can't remember the other one. It was a smaller one, but yeah.
Wait, is it because I can see why a brand would?
It's not that they believe the allegations, but
they'll
probably be back. They're going to let the rest of the year die down. He'll be back on Pepsi commercials in 2025.
I think it's not just the allegations, but how he responded with some of the stuff he said as a corporate brand. You know what I mean? When it comes to that, it doesn't necessarily mix. But I can see
that's interesting because, like, I be thinking sometimes, like, what if I was Drake and I was in this rap beef right now, but I had all these endorsements and shit on the
side? I'm saying
so,
you got
it. So, like, when I logically like sit there and be like, all right, K-Dot want to go, K-Dot want to battle. Is this worth my time? And is this going to be at the expense of me losing some coins if I engage in this? Like, I never think, if rappers really think about that. Like, what if I say some out of pocket shit like he did on, was it the Hard Part 4 or whatever? He said some stuff where I was like, oh, this ain't gonna go over well, or as well as he might have thought. He probably thought that shit was fire, and then and then they posted about it, quoting the lyric, and then you read it like,
Yeah, because he probably thought it was because whoever him or his ghostwriter. I don't even mean that as a shot, but like they completely misread the Kendrick song because they're like, well, you talked about you getting molested. It's like, no, actually, he said that he didn't, and his mom did, and she was triggered by it. And it's like, so now your bar is basically victim blaming. Yeah, they didn't go over well, Drake. You didn't read the room too well on that one.
It's like the way I see it a few ways. Before we get into basketball, ladies and gentlemen, as everyone piles in, hit the like button as you're coming in. But you already know this is from the logo, so we've been hot on this topic for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, since like that, honestly.
Yeah.
But the way I see it is like I see it in a couple ways. One, when I see someone even give Drake a hint of support, right, and then that reply comment is like, "Yo, get off his nuts! You're meat riding." I'm like, yo, if they're between fan bases, let's be so honest right now. This is a brand new level of meat riding that we see from Kendrick fans. Let's be real. Let's be so.
Kendrick fans usually ain't loud. Kendrick fans
not this loud.
Both sides of it's not even the fans. It's the stands of both of them are completely killing the conversation. Like the blindness, right, to all of it. And keep in mind, I'm a Kendrick guy, right? Yeah. But even I look at some Kendrick fans, I'm like, come on, bro. Like I was defending people. Like when people were like, "Oh, Family Matters is terrible," I'm like, "Bro, we're not finna do that, bro. Family Matters would have took out 99% of rappers. That would have been it in the beat.
Right.
That would have been it. Like, come on now, we're not finna act like Family Matters."
So too is though, I think a lot of it, maybe even half, is more so Drake haters or kind of quote unquote true hip hop fans hating on Drake and what he did for hip hop.
That's a shot at Gift fans.
I'm just saying, like,
y'all like catch that
again. Like, I never like Kendrick got fans. But a lot of people, I'd be like, wait, you ain't really like, I don't really hear you talking about Kendrick like that. You know what I mean? I think a lot of people are also just Drake haters too.
Well, no, let's not act like Kendrick doesn't have a huge fan. You can't have the sales that Kendrick has and has not have it. But I just think Kendrick fans are much like Kendrick. We listen to the music, we process it, and then that's like Kendrick's music ain't nothing to tweet about generally. So it's like there's not any like what we gonna do? Like it's a fire album, keep it pushing, right? Unless you want to have these long dissertations to break down lyrics, but that's typically not what people do. But now in this beef, it's gotten people to to interact, and it's like, come on, some of y'all just sound stupid, fam. Some of y'all just sound stupid.
So that's 100%. When it comes to the money thing, I just think Drake makes enough money where a Pepsi paycheck.
He can never make another dime, and he's gonna be fine for the rest of his life. That's it. Like
100%. I'm sure that steak deal is quite impressive from the alleged numbers.
Tough. Anyway, let's transition away from that and get into some basketball. Why don't we? So, in case y'all missed it, I know you didn't, but Monday night, last night, the Denver Nuggets were held to 80 points in a pivotal game 2 on their home floor, down 1-0, now down 2-0. The Timberwolves had 106 points, shot, let me get this right, 50% from the field, 39% from 3, held Denver to under 35% from the field and 30% from 3. Jamal Murray, 3 for 18. Nikola Jokic, former 2-time back-to-back MVP, reigning finals MVP, 5 for 13 from the field, 0 of 1 from 3. I bet him to hit 2. Dumb move on my part. I'm sorry. KCP, 2 for 6. Michael Porter Jr., 4 for 12. Aaron Gordon, Aaron Gordon, he played well. But that's about it. And a little justice.
He made shots. I wouldn't even say he played well. He
had 20, which is what Michael Porter Jr. was averaging before that game last night. But whatever. Karl Anthony Towns, 27, 1 assist, 12 rebounds, 10 of 15 from the field, 3 of 5 from 3. Right? Anthony Edwards, 27 and 7, 11 of 17 from the field. All right, just monster game. So let me throw this question to y'all. Chat, y'all can feel free to chime in as well. But what was that last night? Somebody tell me what that was. Is Denver looking a little mentally shook or shook up, froze up? Like, did they just get ran up on? Because mind you, there is no Rudy Gobert for the Minnesota Timberwolves. I forgot to say, there's no Rudy Gobert in this game. If you watch that game the way I was watching it last night, what I saw was literal, like that was probably the best defense that I've seen in a playoff game from a team in a very long time. I'm not even exaggerating. They had them boys locked up, not from the perimeter, just the perimeter. The perimeter, the paint to full court. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, when I saw him smiling at Jamal Murray for pushing him back, trying to drive past him, I was like, oh, this shit wraps. And that happened before halftime. Bro, tell me what y'all's thoughts were on the game. Start off with his.
You know what this feels like to me? And this is completely different levels, but do you remember the series where it was, if I'm not mistaken, it was the Golden State Warriors led by Baron Davis against the Dallas Mavericks that year.
And
they were complete underdogs. And not that Golden State Warriors team was bad, but they just came into that series and their confidence was just through the roof. And the Mavericks never got a grip back on that. That's what this feels like. This feels like the Minnesota Timberwolves came into the series. They saw the defense they were able to play, especially now without Rudy Gobert. And I don't know if it's going to have to take the Denver Nuggets to blow them out by 30 if they want to affect their confidence. Because even if they do get a win, if it's a slight win, I just don't know if you can put the genie back in the bottle at this point in time. Like, this series is just different. And I've never seen the Denver Nuggets handled like this in back-to-back games. They're usually really good at adjusting game to game. And it seemed like they had no answers in this game at all for the Minnesota Timberwolves defense. At all.
None.
I think what I'm seeing here is, one, I haven't seen defense play like this in the NBA in a very long time as a team. One, their defensive rotation is some of the best I've seen.
Yo, it was crazy.
A lot of 2000s. Because, I mean, what they're doing, even though, they'll have Cat or Naz Reid on Jokic, who are doing phenomenal 1v1 defense. But even there, then they'll have like Kyle Anderson or Nicole Alexander, Mike Conley, someone come in, kind of swipe for the ball. And usually that's when Jokic finds MPJ, Pope, boom, boom. Even when he finds MPJ, someone's right beside him, like right away. It's like they're reading the path, they're getting there, and they can't get an open shot. So when your rotations are so good and you're still getting bodies on Jokic, making it uncomfortable, this Denver team just, again, I don't think any team has seen defense like this in a very long time. And a Denver team that's very much a finesse team, not a team that's really a kind of a grinded out, punch you in the mouth team, but, just kind of, passes the ball well, shoots the ball well, needs kind of space to operate. It's just, it doesn't really lend itself to them being incredibly, them playing the type of basketball that they need to play to win. Two, Jamal Murray can't get by his man. He's getting pressed full court. I think that injury obviously may be turning a little bit, but when he can't even get by his man, through a first step and needs multiple picks to even have a little bit of room, that's creating some problems for Denver because it just takes away so much from the shot clock. And by the time that, that second guy comes for another pick or trying to find space, there's 10 seconds left. He passes somebody, and it's like they're forced to kind of put up a bad shot. So defensively, I think Minnesota is doing incredible. And then offensively, I mean, Cat, a perennial playoff dropper, has hooping, hitting shots. It's giving the work to Jokic. Jokic's lack of defense, especially in the paint, is showing. Anthony Edwards is getting to the rim at will against these guys. Once he gets into the paint, there's nobody there to kind of push him back. So their lack of rim protection is definitely being shown here. Man, it's looking rough for Denver. Again, I still think Denver can come back. I'm not ready to write them off yet. Also because I gotta, I want them to win. But I just think they're too good to be playing like this bad. Like if they lost the game, by 6 points, 5, like I get it. Minnesota plays well, they hit key shots. Denver misses key shots. I get that. But to get blown out like that and embarrassed, man, it's tough. Like these boys, Nicole Alexander, like the defense, it's Jaden McDaniels, that defense, Anthony Edwards, even Cat, a known defensive liability for some reason. I was seeing on the post, Jokic was bodying Anthony Davis on the post, moving him, but he's not moving Cat. So I don't know if Cat's stronger, has better core strength, whatever it is. Cat's doing a better job than Anthony Davis on Jokic, which is ridiculous. Jokic's also missing, he's definitely getting hit up a bit too, but he seems like he's missing his, those awkward floaters that he makes a ton. He's been missing those. Again, they're sending multiple by them, so I get it. The shooting just hasn't been there. MPJ not shooting well, even though all the shots are contested. Just not shooting the ball that relatively well. Caldwell Pope clearly not 100%. Peyton Watson, like they just don't have guys hitting those threes. And when you just don't have, so when the team is not shooting well, there's not a lot of space to operate. It's a tough situation for Denver, who just hasn't seen this level of physicality, and it's not looking so good. And I think everyone's shocked.
It's not looking good. It's to a point now where Hayes, say I'm jumping the gun on this. I don't care. Wolves in 6. That's what I see. Wolves in 6. And let me tell you how I see it. Let me tell you how I came to that conclusion. Because first of all, after game 1, I did not want to overreact. Right? You saw Stephen A. Smith on First Take talk about the Wolves going to the championship. Wolves going. They about to. And everybody comments, after one game, yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, but if you looked at game 1 and then you looked at game 2 and saw, damn, it can get worse. Oh, okay. They took both home games. They took home court advantage away from the Denver Nuggets in the first 2 games. Like, think about that. The reigning defending NBA champions, the T-Wolves walked into their arena, mile high, all that altitude, all that shit. They walked in there and they held them to under 100 points in both of the first 2 games. If that doesn't scream Mayday, help us, I don't know what does. So game 3, I'm thinking in these next 2 games, they got to go back to Minnesota. The Nuggets can get one of them. The Wolves are probably going to get that other, like as a bounce back or vice versa. And then we end up back in Denver for game 5. I would think that the Nuggets would win game 5 back on their home floor. And then would it get to game 6, and the Wolves are going to go ahead and end that and wrap that shit up appropriately back home. That's the trajectory that I'm seeing. If not, we're going to have a 7-game series at worst. I'll take it. Great, whatever. But I still got the T-Wolves walking out of this series. No Rudy Gobert, right?
Yeah, it's tough to lose that game with no Rudy Gobert. Is tough. That was a game you could have won.
You're right. Anthony Edwards' quote, they got Kevin Durant, we got Jaden McDaniels, should be put in a book right now because that shit is aging like fine wine. Like it is ridiculous because at the end of the day, even like Jaden McDaniels last night didn't have too good of a game. But even Anthony Edwards after the game is still saying, yeah, well, you see what Jaden did tonight. Still giving him props. The team itself, the morale surrounding it, it's scary over there how good this team is on that side of the ball. And then you think about the head coach, Chris Finch, and all that. You think about the fact that this man is on a torn patella, whatever it was. Like, if you needed any more motivation to go get somebody, even though your own player hurt your own head coach, whatever. If you needed any more motivation, they got it, right? Our coach is hobbled. Let's spin this shit for Coach Finch, like whatever. They just have, and then Ant. Don't even get me started on Ant. This man is a walking combination of Mike and a young Kobe and a young D Wade in Miami. All of it. Just he's Ant. Can we just stop the comparison and just call it for what it is? This is Anthony Edwards. Ant is just like, don't compare me to none of them. They laid the groundwork and the foundation at the shooting guard spot, whatever. But I'm Ant. I'm just different. I will talk shit to you. I will back it up. If you think I'm not a shooter, I can surprise you. If you think I won't punch on your favorite player, I can surprise you or cross somebody up, point to them while they still on the like. Ant is just a different breed, bro. So like, to me, this Wolves team, if you have that and the grit to go out there and get a win over the defending champs with no Rudy Gobert, who might end up being a four-time defensive player of the year this year. The identity and all of that, the momentum, all of that is in the hands of Minnesota. That's how I see it. Like,
sounds like this team is built the way they play to beat Denver. Shout out their president. He's the one who built Denver's team. Comes here, and clearly that trade for Rudy Gobert, he realized what Jokic is or what Jokic will become too. He realized, you kind of need multiple bigs. Having Naz Reid was huge for Minnesota, him playing that kind of elite level defense. They're just playing with that. You know what thing with Anthony Edwards is? He's phenomenal, obviously, as a player. The jump shot, getting to the basket, mid-range, like everything's hitting for him right now.
Yeah.
It's also just like his swagger, the energy he brings to the team. Like everyone kind of feeds off that energy, loves to play with him. And I think this Minnesota team is really feeding off of him. And they're doing it well. So Denver has to, I'm trying to think what adjustment they can make. I don't know if there's any adjustment, maybe slow it down. I just know that you're going to keep up with the pace of Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, got to cut down on the turnovers. Got to be better, smarter with the ball. I think sometimes they were trying to do too much with the passing. Just take it back to simple, basic basketball, right? Don't try to do too much, and try to beat them that way. I don't think like maybe just the age thing too, or just the energy that the Minnesota brings. I don't know if Denver is able to match that. They're just running up and down the floor with Minnesota, but Denver, hopefully these 3 days can help a Jamal Murray, a Pope, kind of get back to maybe closer to 100%. Murray working with that hamstring, Pope with the ankle.
Yeah,
having 3 days off should help. But it's do or die. They got to win next game.
I don't know what adjustments necessarily they can make. I mean, just based off of what I saw, is just like it looks like this is a Wolves team that might have just figured out. Because when we think about Denver and their offense, and even Nikola Jokic and his greatness and all of that, it's like the Denver Nuggets 2-man game with Jamal and Jokic. We talk about how that is like top 3 in the league, most unstoppable schemes or whatever, right? And then you look at the action that they can get when Aaron Gordon is cutting back door and they set up that lob threat and it goes from a 2-man action to a 3-man action. Like their offense is built to be able to withstand certain things and go on runs when they need to, which is why coming back on the Lakers every single game after halftime in last round, it was so easy for them because like they just never panicked, right? When I look at this Wolves team, I'm like, they might have just figured them out, low key. Like they might have figured out how to anticipate, right, certain plays, because that's how you guard a team like this with such a diverse and versatile offense, right? You figure out how to beat them to the spots that they try to beat you to when other teams try and counter, doubling Nikola Jokic or bringing in just more help off drives or whatever. Like the fact that they were just there and every spot and every plan B and C that Denver had or Jokic might have had in the post, that's terrifying to me and would be terrifying to me if I'm the Denver Nuggets, because now you have to go, as Mike Malone, you have to figure out a way to counter their counters, right? Like it just becomes more of a complex job for you. So I don't know how they're going to respond in that way other than like, and then you also have to factor in Jokic. I don't think Jokic is going to play this bad for too much longer, right? We looked at Jalen Brunson after the first 2 games of last round, and after game 1, I came on from the logo. I think we were on playback, and I was like, we're going to talk about Jalen Brunson, and then Dub or somebody was like, he won't do that next game. I think all of us concluded he won't do it next game. The next game, he shot worse from the field. So then you wait until he gets that momentum. The series is up for grabs. He's dropping 40 back to back to back. If Jokic gets comfortable figuring out, okay, if Cat's on me, how am I going to make – like, because Cat can get in foul trouble. So that's an easy fix right there. Just get Cat in foul trouble, I guess. But it's up to the champs to show us who they are, what they're made of. How will they respond? Like Mike Malone said, what do you even say? But how are you going to respond to that? That's the only thing you can say.
Yeah, I mean, you just gotta, you gotta get your big boy pants on and step up and just play better. I don't even know if there's any kind of schematically you can do in terms of adjustments. Maybe throw a second body at Ant sometimes. I know sometimes he can get flustered from the double team. But other than that, it's just I just don't see it. Because it's not like other than Ant and Cat in the starting lineup, no one really is buckets. It's mostly defensive guys.
Yeah.
And then just off the bench, Nas Reed kind of give you buckets. Other than that, no one's really that consistent. So again, contesting the shots, and sometimes you just need the other team to miss shots. You know what I mean? You just need the other team to miss. Like Minnesota wasn't missing guys who usually don't shoot that well. We're shooting, relatively decent. But the Ant thing, I think Ant's going to get his no matter what. Cat, I think you definitely do a better job of. We've seen him struggle in the playoffs before, so maybe just defensively, you better hope he didn't turn a corner because he's going to consistently give me 20 plus on this.
If Cat turned a corner to the point where the Wolves are looking at like who's guarding Cat, and they're like, okay, if Cat's in a situation where he's isolated from Nikola Jokic, okay, we're going to attack that. You know what I'm saying? Like it'll be a different look for like Aaron Gordon defending him per se, right? But if they get that switch and then they get Jokic on him on the perimeter, Cat can, virtually play with him. No diddy, but like he can just keep the spot and figure it out. So it would be interesting to see that if Cat has indeed turned the corner, or if he goes.
Minnesota did what Minnesota did to Denver. It looked like a diddy party. It was terrible.
It wasn't good.
Well, damn, Jalen, that's a thing to come back to the stream on. Goddamn,
you came right on time. It was definitely a time to come back.
Would the Celtics be better with Nas McDaniels versus Brown? Oh, okay.
I think the Celtics' second best player right now is Derek White. Derek White's just phenomenal. Derek White's been playing crazy. Nas and McDaniels over Brown. I don't hate that. I think positionally they need a shooting guard. I mean, they have Porzingis. Do they name Nas as a backup? That'd be okay. Al Horford still there. McDaniels, who would McDaniels start, or would he back up Tatum?
If that lineup would potentially be Drew Holiday, Derek White, Jaden McDaniels, Tatum, and KP.
Yeah, guess it'd be that.
Or would you be bringing in McDaniels and Nas off the bench? That'll be. I mean, either way. It could be. Yeah, I see what you're getting at with that hypothetical.
It's a 50-50 there. It's a 50-50. Yeah. I think some matchups it'd be Nas and McDaniels, but other matchups you still need a scoring prowess of Brown, who can get you 30 in a given night.
Anyway, so let's transition. We're gonna talk about the other game that happened last night. Briefly, the Knicks and the Pacers. Anybody catch Jalen Brunson's fourth 40-piece in a row?
Jalen Brunson should average that this series. I mean,
we got that's what I said. That's what I said.
The Pacers are a terrible defensive team.
Yeah, and Pacers basically. Yeah. I mean, they literally give up points to their guard, to the point guard especially. They're one of the worst defensive teams to point guards points, and they don't give up a lot of assists to the point guards because they don't. They basically just kind of say, "Hey, you're going to beat us scoring. You're not going to let you create or pass, right?" Which is what Jalen Brunson is going to get his 40 pieces. His assist numbers are going to be down. So he kind of expected that. I just think I didn't expect Indiana to kind of keep up with the Knicks with Haliburton having as mediocre a game as he did, and Siakam not having kind of a huge game. The other guys, Naismith and like Nembhard guys and Miles Turner definitely did their thing there. It was a close game throughout. Could have definitely went either way. Dante DiVincenzo stepped up for the Knicks. He had kind of an off series against Philly, but did well against Indiana. Josh Hart, just absolute beast. Rebounds, playmaking, clutch buckets. He's shooting way over his head right now. Been doing
he played the whole damn game.
Yeah, his cardio is incredible. Whatever Tibbs had him ready for that. I do expect the Knicks defense is definitely a little problematic. Like the way they're letting Indiana get anything they want to with the defenders that the Knicks have, kind of in OG, Josh Hart. I do think they have to be better defensively because against better teams, they're not going to get away with some of the things that they're getting away with. Especially, I think their rim protection too needs a lot of work. Indiana was getting anything they wanted in the paint too, and the outside jump shot was falling. So great game. I thought definitely a good game. Jalen Brunson hooping. Like I said before in other shows, he might be the first guy to average 40 for a series since Michael Jordan, I believe. I don't think anyone's taken that after. But yeah, it's if Haliburton has just kind of an average game, Indiana might have stole that one. So this might be a close game than I thought. I thought Knicks would run away with the series. But that game was a lot closer than I expected.
Yeah. Hayes, what you think?
I mean, the Pacers, I truly feel I like the Pacers, but they can't do shit with the New York Knicks, bro. Like, not with Jalen Brunson playing at this level. I get it that the score was close. The Knicks only won by 4 points after a 43-piece by Jalen Brunson. But if you watch this game, it didn't feel like that most of this game. It just didn't. Right? It didn't feel like that. Like, yeah, the final score was close, and that's good. Shout out to you guys. But, like, the Pacers give up so many points. And they are such a turnstile defensively that if I had to bet on any one of these teams to kick it up a notch defensively to get that final stop, I'm going to bet on the New York Knicks, unfortunately. And I hate the Knicks. It pains my soul that the Knicks are so good. But when you got Jalen Brunson playing at an MVP caliber level, it's going to be hard to stop that.
Yeah. Yeah. And my thing is, going into this series, I said Brunson could easily average 30 to 35 points a game this series against this Pacers defense. But I said at the same time, I'm not going to sleep on the Pacers because they can score in bunches. That's what makes them such a weird and unique team. Their defense is ass, but they can put some points on the board. It's almost like the Eastern Conference variants of or equivalent to the Kings last year. Not a good defensive team, but damn can they score. And damn, when they get hot, they get deadly. So, like Jalen said, last night when I was watching, I was like, now if Tyrese Haliburton has...
That's what we got to talk about.
That's what we really got to talk about. If Tyrese Haliburton has a game close to what McConnell gave you off the bench, right? Even
they win.
What Obi Toppin gave you off the bench. Like, if you have a 16-point performance, you win. Maybe. But your chances are much bigger than you walking out and scoring 6 points on 6 shots in a game one. Now, I don't know what the hell is up with Tyrese Haliburton. But I know at one point this season, everybody was that resurfaced clip of Willie's, what's his name, Willie Zierback or whoever that said he was a fake all-star or whatever. And then Hallie was an all-star and yada, yada, yada. Like, we were giving him a lot of love because we was like, oh, you getting these 27 and 12s and no turnovers and shit. Like, well, you be going out here in the postseason, you hitting step back threes on Drew Holiday in the in-season tournament, and then we get out here to the postseason and you putting up 6 shots a game. You are doing your best James Harden impression. I don't like that. But at the same time, like Hayes said, if I was to count on a team to turn it up a notch on the defensive side of the ball in order to stop the other, it would be the New York Knicks. They have more personnel. They got a more defensive-minded coach in Tibbs, and be damned if Tibbs don't play somebody 48 minutes. He ain't scared to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the one thing about Tibbs that could be very detrimental to the Knicks, like in a conference finals. But for now, they good. They chilling. So going in the next game, like, what do y'all think the keys are for the Pacers to steal a game?
Tyrese Haliburton got to stop playing like a bitch. Let's just be real. Like, seven games in the playoffs, he's averaging 14.5 points per game. Now 9.1 assists, so at least he's passing the ball and 1 steal per game. But he's shooting the ball 42% from the field and 30% from 3-point range. I don't know if he came back from injury too much. Maybe he re-aggravated and we don't know. But we need the Tyrese Haliburton that's a threat to put up at least 20. At least.
You gotta be 20-10 every night. Every night, 20-10 easy with the amount that he has the ball in his hands, and we know at the level that he can play with, especially against Jalen Brunson, who for all his offensive talent is not going to stop him defensively. You know what I mean? Get the switch on him, attack him, try to get him in foul trouble. You definitely got to do that. I think Siakam has to step up too, even though he has his hands full with OG. That matchup is going to be tough all series, but I think he has to play a little better. And the other guys showed up. Like, everyone else played as good as they need to play for them to win the game. If Haliburton up, they win this game.
Out of every single player for the Pacers that played in this game, and it was 1, 2, 3, 4. It was 9 players. Out of 9 players for the Pacers, Haliburton had the least amount of points. Out of 9 players that played in this game, he had the least amount of points. Bro got outscored by is this Isaiah Jackson? Who? Bro's getting out. Like, what are we doing? What is happening, bro? That, like, somebody find Haliburton and bring his ass back to Indiana because this is not. You cannot be getting outscored by Isaiah Jackson, bro.
Especially in the playoffs, you just can't. And I know, we basically said this ever since that NCAA tournament. He hasn't looked the same. You know, people have said injury, but it's been 40 whatever games now. Like, I mean, you've been playing. I don't think an injury thing is the excuse. He just hasn't been hooping. Hasn't been aggressive. He's not playing with the same level of confidence that he did when he was on that run. It's like he needs a little bit of Anthony Edwards in him. He needs that Anthony Edwards, you know, kind of swagger to him when he's playing. Yeah. I think he definitely needs a bit of that. Maybe teammates can do that for him, but he's had to step up next game. I think the Knicks too, defensively, they got to figure this out because it's not going to work against Boston or a good team in the finals. Them defensively doing what they're doing against Indiana not going to work. They got to step up. OG against fine. Josh Hart too. Josh Hart sometimes a bit of a risk taker. Like he has all the tools to be a great kind of defender. Sometimes I just feel like he jumps into unnecessary passing lanes. Kind of sometimes his backdoor cuts on him that he doesn't look at because he's looking at the ball. It's just little things like that he gets caught up in. He can do better with that. Jalen Brunson is going to be a defensive liability. The team just has to cover for him because he does so much offensively. Dante, do you think too, and Hartenstein just be more of a force in the middle.
Yeah.
When you look at pre and post All-Star break, Tyrese Haliburton, and to Jalen's point, so prior to the All-Star break, he was averaging 21.8 points per game. After the All-Star break, 17. He's also shooting the ball 4% worse from the field and 10% worse from three-point range since the All-Star break. It's the fall off is real. And so it's noticeable. He was also averaging 11 assists prior to the All-Star break, down to 9.5 prior. So like, there's something to it, like whether it's he came back from injury too soon or something like that to help this team, whatever it is, he got to figure it out if the Pacers want any chance to make it past the Knicks, because they're not going to make it past Tyrese Haliburton, who's only had one 20-point game in the playoffs as a whole. It's just not going to happen with him playing that way.
Damn, man. And speaking of players that need to step up, we're gonna transition into the top of the hour game or whatever. Tonight, the first game of the night, Celtics and Cavs. So, out of anybody that needs to step up in this series is Darius Garland. I am so tired of walking about, like I be putting bets in right sometimes on games for the Cavs, like Game 7 for example. I was like, I'm betting over on Donovan Mitchell, right? I said Darius Garland, 18 in this game 7, 18 from Darius Garland. They don't seem like I'm asking for too much. Lord have mercy. Does this kid not go prime D'Angelo Russell with the Lakers numbers? Like, I'm just sitting here like, how the hell were we talking about this team when Donovan Mitchell got traded there originally, and it was you, and it was Darius, and it was Jared, and it was Evan, and oh my God, the Twin Towers, and oh my God, the 2 Ds or whatever. Like, Donovan Mitchell is still carrying niggas in the year 2024 for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Why is that? Because Darius Garland be forgetting how to shoot. And I'm sitting here saying, if you want to get at least a game over the Boston Celtics, because to be honest with you, I'm interested to see how Boston is going to handle or be able to handle Donovan Mitchell, right? At the same time, I'm also interested to see how many games we're going to see of Donovan Mitchell like giving us 50 and losing because niggas don't want to step up and help him. Because that's what I envision with this series. Because I think Darius Garland, for as great as a second option, I guess, as he is salute tank, as good of a second option as he may be or whatever, like on paper, in terms of the production and the consistency, I don't see it. And it pisses me off because this Cavs team could be so much better if they actually had a duo on.
They're so reliant on Donovan Mitchell. Like the offense is so bad. It's literally dribble around.
Yes.
Mitchell go do some heroic baskets. Even when his shot wasn't fine, he got to the rim, which is great. But yeah, Darius Garland has to step up. Mobley, I remember like people, the hype with Mobley. It's like people expected him or thought he'd be like Kevin Garnett, something along those lines. He's just not a good scorer. Like his footwork is not there. Again, especially against a good defender too. He just struggles. He just doesn't have it as a shot creator or even like a kind of tough shot maker. He needs easy buckets kind of given to him. Mobley's not that guy. Jared Allen, if he plays, they definitely need him. I think in the middle, he can definitely, use his size. If Boston with no KP, he can use his size, get some easy buckets for him in the middle. But other than that, I mean, Karis LeVert will probably need to have a huge series against his Boston team. They just need somebody other than Mitchell. I'm confident Mitchell, he's going to show up. I think he'll give you 30 every night as long as it's not a blowout. But he's going to have his hands filled too with Derek White, Drew Holiday, multiple guys they're going to throw at him. Tough. Going to be tough for tough for Cleveland. I think Boston probably wins this in 5 or 6. They just match up so well, like in every position. Yeah, they have Tatum for Mobley. They have Drew Holiday, Derek White for Mitchell. It's just not enough scoring options for Cleveland. Their offense is so easy to defend. And I think this Boston team just has too many defensive pieces, are too good. And offensively, they just have so many guys. Again, Jaylen Brown, even though Porzingis, he's still out today. Jaylen Brown, Derek White, who can give you 20, 25 any given night. Tatum, going to be absolutely hooping, balling out. Boston should be able to win. Even a guy like Peyton Pritchard off the bench, I think he's been phenomenal for them. So Boston should win this series pretty easily. Again, unless a Donovan Mitchell or Karis LeVert both have incredibly good series.
Yeah.
Darius Garland sucks in the playoffs. Him and Tyrese Haliburton may be having the same postseason.
Karl Anthony Towns used to suck too.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Listen, and I know I missed part of that conversation, but we need to talk about, like, is Karl Anthony Towns, because he did sit out so long with injury. I think he's just fresh. I think he's just fresh. That's what it is. But Darius Garland's averaging 15 points per game in the playoffs, where he averaged over 20 in the regular season. They need him to be playing better. You got to. The Cleveland Cavaliers are the picture perfect example of, let him get his 50. We can stop everybody else. They're going to end up with 86 points.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Donovan Mitchell's going to score, and you got to let him do that. But if nobody else is going to step up and help him, the Cleveland Cavaliers are DOA, bro. Like, they barely got past the Magic with that.
Yeah. True shit. Look, Rudy Gobert just won Defensive Player of the Year. It is official, ladies and gentlemen.
4 times.
It is official. 4
times. He got a baby.
He
got the DPOY, and they got the win. He living life right now.
Speaking of the baby, let me get y'all's thoughts on that, bro.
100% justifiable. Look, if you're all the people, I'm not a father yet. I haven't had that. So I mean, I guess Hayes could speak to this more. But if I'm a player, look, basketball is basketball. That's a once in a lifetime moment. That child having birth, you go to the baby birth 100%. Now I was told the birth happened early, so people are like, why come later? You don't know what happened after. Maybe there's some complications. Maybe the wife just asked him, hey, I'm in pain right now. Stay with me. Like, there's more to life than basketball. I promise. There's more to life than game 2.
First child. Yeah. So
child.
Listen, I have 4 children. My oldest graduates in a month, right? Shout out to my son Xavier. But there's something about that first time you have a child, you don't want to leave. That's it. Like, and so even for Gilbert Arenas to say stuff like the baby will still be there. Great. You're a terrible father if that's honestly how you feel. You have so many goddamn kids you forgot about the first time. Like that first time you have a child, like, you don't want to leave. And even that, my last child, when they were born, I didn't want to leave the hospital. I had to, because we had other kids that still had to go to school the next day. I don't judge them at all for missing a basketball game. Yeah, it's a playoff game, but listen, you got to trust your team. And even if they did lose a game, it's a game. Like, you don't miss that. You don't miss that. So people that are saying, like, it's a playoff game, like I think Shannon Sharp and Ocho, they might have kind of lean towards the he should have played, like, narrative. I'm just like, yo, like Hayes said, when you, like, you're gonna have basketball for NBA players, you're gonna have basketball for a small portion of your life. This is for all hoopers in general, high school, AAU, college, whatever. Like, your window for playing basketball and then the rest of your life is like 2 different things. So one is small, one is a lot, like, longer period of time. So the way I see it is like, dude, this is his first kid. At the end of the day, this is his first kid. This is the one thing that is going to bring him more joy than the game of basketball, is the life of his own seed, right? So, like, I understand people that agree with it, but the people that disagree with it, I'm just like, you got to look at it from his perspective. It's his kid. Like, it's his kid. It ain't nobody else's kid on the team. So,
I guarantee you, if you asked, God rest his soul, Luka, but even if you ask, like, Kobe, God rest his soul, and LeBron James, what they value more, their championships or their kids, I get. It is what it is. Like, that is that man's personal life, and that's the one thing that people hate the most about a player, is when personal life shit gets into the way of what they, as the consumer of this person. We had a situation in Toronto when Vince Carter was here, when he went for his graduation. But obviously, like, his family, his mom, I think both were educators, so they really kind of prioritized education. He promised exactly, right? And this was game 7. So that morning, he goes to his graduation. He comes back. but people are probably upset when you have jet lag, kind of struggling in the game. So, like mentioned that, I'm just like, I'm not mad at it. Look, he made a promise to his family. The graduation happened early. He went there, came back, played. We lost in the final shot. He missed it. It happens. And I'm not mad at him at all, though. There's more to life than basketball, winning championships. Like these guys
some
have
people
lives.
hate to hear that. They
100%.
hate to hear that there's more to
They
life
do.
than
100%.
basketball,
They have this idea that everything around these athletes' lives have to circle around just that. When it's just not the case.
Yeah, it's like, what would you do if you have to go to work and there's going to be the birth of your kid? Are you going to go to work?
Go to birth, yeah.
You know,
and if your boss tells you no, you're like, you know what?
what are you?
We'll talk
okay, yeah, okay, boss
crazy.
man, yeah.
Crazy.
I'm just going to leave it because I got to put this.
99.9% of bosses in every profession are letting you go, to your birth. Right.
Real quick, what's good with y'all boys? Shout out to Hayes, ZZ, and J Lux to the show.
What's going on, bro? You're turning on the lights today? You coming from the boom boom room?
Now my other light actually just fell, so I gotta click it up after the fact. Yeah. But I'm gonna say this real quick. I need everyone to clap real quick. All right, just quick round of applause, man. You know what I'm saying? Quick. Put the hands together.
You know what's coming. That's why Jalen isn't clapping yet.
That's why who we clapping for? Clap for LeBron. We clap for LeBron. Go James.
Yeah. Go Rudy Gobert for getting another defensive player of the year. Read it and weep. I feel, man, bro, like
he's tied for the most all time.
Just all the narratives getting shattered in a season is just so funny. Like, I'm pretty sure no one had the Minnesota Timberwolves being up 2-0 on a healthy Denver Nuggets because they are healthy. I know Jamal is, he does have a calf strain. I'll give you that, but
it's noticeable.
You can't lose by 30 points at home, though.
Yeah, that's tough. Like,
without the deep point.
Without Rudy Gobert.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm gonna match Gifted's vibe. I'm gonna turn off my lights. We're gonna match the vibe. We're gonna match the vibe.
Try to set the mood out here. What's going on? What is going on?
Hey, studio after hours.
Somebody play some Boys to Men. No, this is what it is, bro. Up here, everybody. The top row is me and Jalen, right? This is Euphoria.
And then you got the bottom row.
It's Meet the Grams. That's what it is.
Meet the Grams.
But yeah, so Gifted. I mean, we already kind of dove into the whole shebang about the Timberwolves and the Nuggets, but you go ahead and give your piece on what you saw. I mean, like I said to them, holding the defending champions to under 100 points and
crazy.
Both home games for them is crazy. But what you think?
Nas Reed played extremely well. Cat had his best game of the playoffs to me. Played very well and poised. Wasn't getting in a ton of foul trouble. He was playing good defense as well. I just think they really played together like a unit. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, man, they were hounding Jamal Murray. Like he could not get the ball up the court sometimes. And it's like
full court press was crazy.
Yeah, full court press in the playoffs. Like it really felt like a throwback playoff game, man. So that was fun to watch. I am going to game 3. I officially got my tickets. So I will be going to Minnesota for game 3. Do y'all think Jamal's gonna get, canned or what?
Look, Jamal's gonna get. I think he's
if they were to lose, is what you're saying?
No, like, is he gonna play game 3?
Oh, for game 3.
Yeah.
I think he's. I don't think. When it comes to suspension thing,
fine.
The fine. Look, the league understands, the product, how to sell the product. I think when you have the star players, so him, Jokic, Anthony Edwards, Cat in that situation, kind of the faces of the team. When they do stuff like that, you're probably not going to get the suspension. They're going to give him a fine.
But if it was Draymond Green,
of course. Look, if it was someone with past antics, sure, that goes against you. Even if it was a role bench guy, they might have got suspended. But because it's a star player and the NBA is a business and they understand, that is a product that they have to sell for the excitement of the game and all that, they're not going to suspend him. It'll be a fine. Should he get suspended? Look, he's very lucky. No one slipped and fell. Somebody slipped and fell. That they're probably having a whole different conversation.
He's lucky. He's lucky that MPJ saw it and but he tried to throw the towel too. Mike Malone getting in the coaches' faces and shit, and they didn't even get a technical foul. I was like, this is playoff basketball. It is what it is.
Yeah, I'm not mad at it. The refs letting go play. I'm not mad at it.
But at the same time, it's like they're not gonna suspend Jamal Murray. They're not. And this is a guy that has relatively a clean track record in terms of being out of. Think about it like this: if they suspend Jamal Murray, should they have suspended Steph Curry in 2016 for throwing his mouthpiece. Now, up until that point, you had never seen Steph Curry that mad in a basketball game. Up until game 6.
True.
If that was the eighth man on the team, man on the team, they might
get cooked.
Right.
Yeah.
So even, and I remember back then watching that game, I was like, "Oh, I ain't never seen Steph this out of pocket." Like, and obviously, me, being a Warrior fan, I was like, "Rigged," but it is what I understand. But but I was like, "I've never seen this." And then I was like, "Imagine they suspend them game 7. They wouldn't do it. They're not gonna do it." Yeah. So the T-Wolves being down 2-0. And Jamal already dealing with a calf strain and all that, like, it was a frustrating situation for the Denver Nuggets. So Adam Silver, he know that he don't want to lose no viewership. He don't want to lose no fan interest. None of that. They need Jamal Murray in this game, because if not, Lord,
it's gonna be rough, man. Like I said this coming in, right? Like, I wasn't sure of how the series would go. I wanted to choose the Wolves, but I needed to see specifically what their defense will look like, because all year long it's been great. They showed that burst against them, but this Denver team, as good as they've been all year long, I did say that, like, they are a team that is touchable. They're not this unbeatable team. Their lack of depth shows. They're relying on MPJ to step up and basically put up 20 plus if Jamal can't do it. And they don't really have that many spacers. They have like 3.5 guys who can actually shoot the ball. So that's an issue.
Yeah.
Tough.
It's tough. I told Hayes and Jalen, I got Wolves in 6. I can't deny it. I told them that I could see Denver winning one of the next 2 games, because if they go down 3-0, then it won't be Denver, and it won't be the T-Wolves in 6. It'll be the T-Wolves in much less. But I see the Denver Nuggets winning one of these games.
I do too.
I see the Wolves responding, potentially going back to game 5. I see Denver winning that home game, something they haven't done in the series so far, and then going back to Minnesota, where it will inevitably end. But I think that the thing with this Wolves team, because I was like, I don't want to be jumping the gun when I say this, but just looking at them in comparison to a team like Jalen's Lakers, for example, the Lakers had Anthony Davis. Jalen said it earlier. How the hell is is Cat giving you more of a fight and a defensive presence on Nikola Jokic than Anthony Davis was, right? Like, Jokic was relatively moving AD.
I think Cat is stronger than Anthony Davis. And she's generally just stronger, which is crazy.
If that's the case, if that's the case, it's crazy. But like you said, when you thought about the things that the Lakers needed to beat Denver, size was one of them. Athletic, real defensive presence, maybe real 3-and-D guys.
Yeah, not having a guy like Rui be the guy to be on Jokic compared to Naz Reid or Gobert or Cat. They just have way more size on the floor.
They have way more size on the.
It's their defensive rotations.
That too. They rotate extremely well.
It is ridiculous. Yeah. Last night I was watching the game,
crazy.
And I was like, yo, am I because we was a little, and I was like, am I tripping, or are they getting to the spots that the Nuggets are trying to counter them with? You see what I'm saying? Like, Jalen was talking about it earlier. When you looked at what the Nuggets were doing to the Lakers, for example, and when they had to deal with double teams and eventual triple teams, when people come in and suffocate Jokic in the paint and he's kicking it out to guys, the Lakers struggled defending that. And it was to a point where we as defenders were looking at them and saying, so your plan of attack on the defensive end is to put Rui on Nikola Jokic, but not only that, double team Nikola Jokic in the post. And that's going to be the thing that's going to rattle their cages. The T-Wolves are virtually doing almost the same thing with more size and size on the wings for them to make those. Jokic and them looked out of sync on certain passes that they made 50 million times in the regular season, right? Like simple dump offs to Aaron Gordon. It rolls out of bounds, or Jamal Murray trying to do a pick and roll with Jokic and bounce pass through the middle, and then they reading that and they go. Or
and they went for everything, man.
You know what I'm saying? Or Nikola Jokic being in the post trying to back his man down, and out of nowhere, Ant come from baseline right behind him, steal that ball, and he go like it's. I was just like, they have an answer for everything. So, like Jalen said, or maybe Hayes, but it's going to take for them to beat them by 30 or more to be able to even remotely shift the momentum back in their favor. If they win a grueling game 3 by Jokic buzzer beater.
Mm.
You got to beat them by 15 plus. We got to beat them respectively. Like for us,
And like they just have way too many options that could just come in. Like I'm telling you right now, Nas Reed can come in and get you 20 points.
Yes.
Off the bench.
Yes.
He can do that. And like
Yes.
having that impact, but more importantly, the biggest X factor that really makes your team such a really, really good group, right? Is that most teams have guys who can do that, but can't really give you anything else. They have multiple guys who are tall, 6'8 plus, who can catch the ball, shoot the ball, but not only that, they can put the ball on the floor and attack closeouts. When you have that much variance with your players, they can come in and give you very special numbers, and they all impact the game on both ends. That's why they're so good as a team, to be honest.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
All right. So let's tap into the final game of the night. Dallas versus the Thunder.
Oh, I can't wait for that game. It's gonna be fun.
So this series is one that I have been very high on. Like I was high on this, like being a hypothetical potential matchup, like at the latter half of the regular season. Just when I was looking at the standings, and I was like, oh, we could see Luka and Kyrie versus Shea and the crew. Let me know who y'all got in 7 games and how many games. Starting with Hayes.
Repeat the question for me.
Dallas and OKC. Who do you have, and in how many games winning the series?
Dallas, OKC. You know me. I don't bet against OKC Thunder, even though I know Dallas has been playing great. I got the Thunder winning in 6.
Okay. Gifted.
You know me. I got OKC in 6. I just think they are the better overall team. Also, for the Mavs to not have Maxi Kleber for the whole series, it really hurts. Like that hurts them tremendously. Their only guy who's a great two-way player and could shoot. Not having him is going to really impact how much they need to get from other players on this team, which already has a lot of role players who are high variance guys. So I'm leaning OKC yet again.
Word. Jalen.
I'm going with the best player in this series. I think Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving is going to be a little too much to handle for OKC. In the middle, I think Gafford and Lively versus Chet will be an interesting matchup. But I do think they'll be kind of able to hold their own. PJ Washington defensively, I think, could do his thing. Whether he's going to guard Jalen Williams, possibly even SGA, will be interesting to see. Derek Jones will be on SGA, and I think PJ Washington will probably be on Jalen Williams as a primary guys. I think it'll be a great series, and the OKC is phenomenal too. Great team. Dallas in 6.
I like it. Give me Dallas in 7. That's what the script gonna read. I'm feeling that. I've been feeling that. Give me Dallas in 7. Here's why. If the Thunder end up winning, like if Gifted and Hayes end up right, I'm gonna give all the props in the world to this Thunder squad, right? When I look at the Dallas Mavericks, I look at Luka Doncic last series. The man was struggling pretty much damn near all series long. He was able to put together some good numbers in the box score until you looked at the field goal percentage or the 3-point percentage, right?
Mm-hmm.
He might have been labored with some injury. I think that they said like earlier on in that series. I don't remember, correct me if I'm wrong, but I was like, you can just tell that he just don't have the same mobility that like a fresh leg Luka would have, right? Then I looked at Kyrie Irving, because me and Gifted talked about Kyrie Irving before from the logo, at least within the postseason. Before the postseason started, we were like, all right, like let's like if this postseason go bad for Kyrie, we're gonna have to start having a couple conversations about Kyrie. And Dub thought me and Gifted was crazy, but we was like, if you think about post 2016 Kyrie in the postseason, some of them runs didn't look as good as maybe you might have thought, right? I looked at him last series. He had a rough, like, for example, the closeout game. He had a rough first half. I needed that man with 30. In the first half, he had like 8, and he was struggling immensely. He was like 1 for 6 from the field or something like that. It was crazy. And then you saw what he did in that second half. This man was, blame Alu for putting PJ Tucker on him, but this man was cooking. Like the 4-point play that he had in the corner, driving in and getting whatever he wanted, the floaters, like Kyrie and Luka playing good basketball, to me, would be the difference maker in this series. SGA, he's probably going to give you what he gives you. I'm looking to see some big things from Chet, don't get me wrong. But the fact that the Oklahoma City Thunder are such a young squad, I find myself wondering if maybe Luka and Kyrie and that experience of just being battle tested, right, is going to play a part in them at least given us a good 7-game series, but also walking out with the series win. That's how I look at it. Of course, time will tell. We'll see. We'll definitely be able to gauge a better view maybe after this game 1. But outside of that, let's talk about shit. I mean, we talked about. You want to give us your takes on Boston and Cleveland gifted at all?
Yeah, Boston, Cleveland. So shout out to Cleveland. They beat the Magic. I had Magic in 7 games. It did go 7 games. And it's crazy because the Magic, as you watch, controlled a ton of that game. And then their offense was the death of them, and Donovan Mitchell took over. And Franz was one of the worst basketball players for that game 7. Here's my thing, right? The Cavs are not going to win this series. There's no Porzingis, but there's also no Jared Allen, which is a tremendous loss for the Cavs to me. Like, they need to have their guy healthy. They play better offensively without 2 bigs on the floor, which will give Boston some issues. But I still think with the defenders that they have to throw at Mitchell and Garland for the full series, and also the fact that there's no real clean matchup for Brown or Tatum, I just think Boston's a far better team. So I'm leaning Boston. I do believe that Donovan Mitchell is productive enough to get you 1 game. So I got Boston in 5.
I agree with that. Hayes, what you got?
Yeah, I just don't see it going past 5 games. I agree with Gifted there. Like, Boston's going to completely mop the floor with them, I think. Like, I think this is going to be, they're going to get 1 game, and it may just be because the Boston Celtics want to finish the season on their home court. Boston in 5 in this one.
Yeah, I can see that actually. Jalen, what you got?
Yeah, in the same boat here. I just think Cleveland kind of outclassed against Boston. It's too many quality guys. Again, I just think Derek White's going to make the leap. I think everyone's going to regard him as the second best player on this team by the time the season's over. I just think he's been phenomenal for them. Boston in 5. I think Mitchell will get a 1 game where he probably has a really big game. But other than that, I just don't see how Cleveland can hang.
Word. All right, so let's I'm going to ask y'all this question just because I wasn't able to ask it on Sunday because it didn't happen. I think it happened on Sunday. But y'all see Pat Riley's comments on Jimmy?
Yeah.
Hey, listen. We don't do this more. Like, we have to shout out that front office because, man, the way he kept it real, like, listen, shout out to Jimmy, but you don't play enough to pay you this much money. And that's facts. Like, I think Butler is a great player, but we need more managers that come in and say, no, let's be honest. Like, listen, we love Tyler Hero, but you got to bulk up because you're weak on defense. You don't you don't put in the work enough to bulk up and be sizable for our team. We don't know if we're going to pay you. You might have to walk. And to be that honest, I appreciated that. Now, how will that boil over? I don't know because we didn't.
Pat Riley's gone, right? Pat Riley's gone.
No. Pat Riley's the
no, but they say he's retiring at the end of the season. Pat Riley, he's gone.
I don't remember seeing that.
Is he? I never.
Pretty sure, yeah, that was the whole thing.
Hang on, let me do that real quick.
Yeah.
Pat Riley.
If he does, and if he does, and he said that shit, that's a crazy way to.
That's a crazy way to go out. Yeah.
If you're not on the court, you should keep your mouth shut.
Pat Riley's one of those guys that has
crazy.
every right to kind of say it too because he's so accomplished. We've seen the success that would actually mean something when he says it. He's definitely right. Jimmy Butler is definitely kind of moving and talking like he's won multiple championships, MVP. You know what I mean? Like he's done a lot. Look, he's been phenomenal in playoffs, but you really haven't accomplished a ton, Jimmy. So for you to kind of talk like that, it doesn't sit well. Like, if I think it was like Kobe did the whole thing for the bench. Like, yeah, you're Kobe Bryant, you can do that. I have this many rings. You can talk a certain way. LeBron, whoever
Klay Thompson.
it is, right? Yeah, Klay Thompson, I guess, sure, because he had the rings, he could back it up. So, but with Jimmy, it's like, all right.
With Jimmy, it's different because this is how I think it's different with Jimmy, because it's like outside of, let me think, Giannis and Kawhi when he was in Toronto. Who's been representing the Eastern Conference since LeBron left? The most. Jimmy Butler. I'm sorry. Now, that's not to say that Jimmy Butler had the best team or, anything like that. That would probably be the Celtics or the Bucks. But the way I saw it was there is nobody in the Eastern Conference that can take ownership of like I run this or I run the playoff or the conference, the playoffs for the conference or anything like that outside of Jimmy Butler. In terms of like last year alone, him knocking off the Bucks, the Knicks, and the Celtics, and him being the underdog in each and every single one of those series. You can say injury this or injury that. You can say the same. You're gonna say the same thing about Jimmy this year. So, in terms of looking at it from Jimmy Butler's perspective, it's probably like y'all know that y'all ain't got much more ownership over this conference than I do. In terms of at least representing the conference in June, that's been me twice in the last 4 years. So,
I agree.
I ain't get it done, but there's the only person that did get it done in the last 4 years was Giannis. And I bounced him out of the playoffs last year. So I feel y'all too on Pat Riley because me knowing who Pat Riley is as the general manager, even back when he was with the Lakers, this man never put up with no BS. It's just all about winning. It's about winning. This man was running the Showtime Lakers type shit. Like, so you got to look at him in an executive role and think he's going to apply that same pressure. It's about winning. It ain't about just getting to the finals. It's about winning the damn thing, right? So, for me, I love the fact that Pat Riley stood on business. That's the one thing that
I love that. I love that. Yeah.
I didn't think because some people were like, I saw Kendrick Perkins. I think he was like, now was he wrong? Not necessarily, but the tone, the voice surrounding it is would make you kind of think that like Gibbs said, where do they go from here with that into the offseason, right? Are they going to end up letting Tyler Hero walk? Or are they going to give Jimmy the extension? Like
I think Tyler might get flipped.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's a situation where
possible
that Heat culture might get shifted a little bit, but at the end of the day, Pat is standing on business. They ain't won a championship in over 10 years. So it's like if you're the general manager, are you mad at him for keeping it real about the fact that he wants championships? Every general manager wants championships. At least I can point to Pat Riley and be like, he stood on business and he kept it real. James Jones and what he doing in Phoenix. Shut the hell up, because y'all out here just talking out your ass. If you talk about
a little rough,
maximizing Kevin Durant, y'all just got swept. Like keep it a beat. But yeah, that's crazy. Did you look it up, Gifted? Did you see if it was true?
Yeah, the closest thing that I could find was from 2 years ago, where it said, "I am 77 years old and I can do more push-ups than you," which basically means he wasn't trying to get out of there. But it seems that he's been pondering the thought, but. Nothing confirming this year he'd be gone.
My thing too is like
I saw it's right here. It's maybe it's Heat culture. Breaking Pat Riley is officially announced his retirement from the NBA after this season. Miami search for a new president will begin the offseason. I don't know if it's real now. It could be fake news.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was wondering.
Yeah, so it is what it is. But is there anything that y'all might have? I asked Jalen this before the show started, but anything on your mind, Gifted, that you have seen, any takes, any thoughts about the NBA in the last couple of weeks, anything that you have seen somebody say that you want to debate or debunk or whatever? Anything.
Yeah. My question is this. How high is too high for Anthony Edwards?
Meaning?
Like player ranking. Because I've heard people say that he's like a top 10 player right now.
Right now?
Yeah.
Too high for Ant would be damn. What would be too high for Ant? Top 3, maybe?
So you think that it's realistic that Ant could reach like a top 5 caliber player? In
terms of like going forward like next year or some shit like that?
Like next year, yeah.
But yeah.
Top 5. No.
The reason I say that is he has the potential to do that because we look at Anthony Edwards, and the one thing about his game this season that I will give him the most props for is him stepping up more as a two-way player. So
yes,
you know what I'm saying? So like that was the one thing that I used to look at Anthony Edwards and be like, okay, yeah, he can dunk, he got a little mid-range game, which he also got polished this year.
Yeah, true.
But I was like, I saw the things that he did have, but I also made sure to talk about things that he should work on to get him into a better position when we start talking about rankings and all that. So in terms of checking those boxes this year, low key, he pretty much checked all of them. And then my thought went to, I got to see it in the postseason. I got to see it for a full postseason. Now, granted, T-Wolves are 6-0 in the postseason so far.
Crazy, by the way. Shout out to the Wolves, man.
Shout out the Wolves, bro. 6-0, only undefeated team in the postseason. Like, in terms of Anthony Edwards, when you look at his past, was it 8 games against the Denver Nuggets in the postseason, he's averaging over 30 a game. And when you look at Anthony Edwards in the fourth quarters of this postseason, 10.5, I think, a game, shooting it above 60% from the field and damn near 100%, or I think 100% from the free throw line. So his fourth quarter numbers are equally as just crazy. It's just insane. But through the first round, we were looking more at Tyrese Maxey in the fourth quarter and Jalen Brunson in certain stretches or what have you, or Jamal Murray. But look at Anthony Edwards in the fourth quarter. This man is taking some sort of step.
Yeah.
It may not be elite. It may not be like a complete jump, but it's something. So I'm going to keep let me put it to you like this. I'm going to keep my eye on Ant going into next season based off of, because I think the Wolves are going to go to the NBA Finals this year. I think that they're going to go to the Finals this year. Not going to lie to you. Now, do I say they're going to win the whole thing? Don't know. But if they get out of this series with Denver, I think that these are the
I think this series chooses who's going to win the finals to me.
Exactly. Exact same.
But Boston, like Boston is a good team. My preseason pick was Denver because I wasn't sure about where the Wolves would finish seeding wise. Because again, right, the Denver Nuggets sold themselves. If they literally do not choke against the Spurs down the stretch, the 1 seed, which means they would not be having to play Minnesota in the second round. They probably play in third round. And then I'm asking myself, okay, is Cat going to be healthy for the full postseason run? Because year in, year out, things happen. Denver, to me, just felt like a safer bet, and they sold themselves. So because of that, now they're in a dogfight series versus this Wolves team that's hungry, athletic, playing hard, coached well, young. Yeah, so I mean, that is exactly why we are currently where we are. And I had high hopes for this series. I still do. I think Denver definitely has championship resolve. So I do expect that to, ultimately shape itself out. But got to see it, man. This Wolves team, great start. But Denver is known for making comebacks when they need to. They got to lock in. Jalen,
what you think?
I mean, look, I think they can definitely come back. I mean, in terms of Anthony Edwards as a top 10 player, he can definitely make the jump. One, he doesn't shoot as efficient in the regular season. He's definitely shooting above his head right now. Maybe he's just a playoff prize. He's going to play better in the playoffs. That's great. But he's just shooting the 3-ball mid-range a lot better. Defense has been phenomenal. I think he can definitely become a top 10 player to start next season, depending on how this goes. But hey, this whole conversation changes if Denver comes back and wins this series, right? We're having a whole different discussion. They're still a 2-time champ. I mean, sorry, one-time champion with the multiple-time MVP in Jokic, who could win his 3rd MVP this year. I expect him to play better. Jamal Murray, you give him the 3 days rest that they have. Hope they get healthy. Again, defense is going to be tough, but they're definitely going to play better. I don't expect them to be blown out like this again. This is just embarrassing. Definitely don't think it'll be a sweep. I think Denver will definitely get 1 or 2, but we'll see what Jokic does. Like, what happened in this series? We saw the conversations that go on with Jokic. He can't, now there are whispers, he can't play in the 90s. The physicality would destroy him.
Here we go.
You know what I mean? 2 games out of a whole kind of a 5-year stretch where he's dominating. I mean, I do understand. Like, I get where they're coming from in the sense of I've never seen him kind of struggle like this and the physicality being shown. I get it, but it does seem like a bit of a reaction. Again, if he makes the adjustments, plays well the next 4 games, 5 games, and they win, it's a whole other discussion. So
I can agree with that. Yeah.
Definitely be interesting to see.
Yeah. Sidebar, this isn't hoops related, but I do have to ask if y'all saw the post. This isn't confirmed, it's a rumor, but there was a screenshot of a report that said that Universal tried to get Drake, Kendrick, and also The Weeknd into like a room to end the beef because they're all under Universal, and they basically it looks bad for Drake's brand and it's losing them a ton of money because Kendrick is calling him a pedophile. So they're trying to like make that end
from a business level, right? When we talked about earlier too, right? So obviously brands, like I said, that Pepsi deal will be taken away. You don't want to involve yourself in guys calling each other pedophile, this and that. You did this, you know what I mean? It's just not worth it for the brand, right? It's a necessary kind of headache for them. And UMG, I think they gave one of the biggest contracts ever to Drake recording. Apparently, it was $400 million guaranteed.
A very big contract, yeah.
Right, one of the biggest ever in terms of that guarantee. So if he's their main product. Like he's their kind of their number one artist for them selling. I believe it's unless Taylor Swift is not on that label to have to check, but he's kind of their primary guy. So they're gonna be like, all right. You know, apparently they also wanted Kendrick to take back what he said. Now what he'll do, look,
which is wild, by the way, and like
from a hip hop perspective, I get it's wild, but like from a business perspective, you know, from like corporate heads, you completely understand where they're coming from. Do I think it'll make a difference? Do I think things have been said? And I think with the internet, it stays forever. It's in a song.
I don't know, like if he's legally required to walk that back.
Oh, he's not legally required to. It's just like, you know, when your boss tells you you should do something, they might not promo his next album. They might not do, like there's a lot of things labels. Shit. I hear you, but a lot of things labels can do. Like labels, there
are things that labels can do. But I'm kind of with Gifted on this one in terms of like for example, Lil Wayne is my favorite rapper of all time, right?
Yeah.
When Wayne was into that shit with Cash Money and Birdman about not getting paid, and then the release of the Carter 5 was delayed for 6 damn years. Meanwhile, me being the fan, I'm tapped in. Wayne is dropping mixtapes, and then they become classics. The dedication series.
They might tell Kendrick, we won't give you a release. We might not give you a release until you do.
So if you're Kendrick Lamar and you got all this ammunition because your fans are the black version of Swifties, now you can drop a mixtape. You can do whatever you got to do to get music out, or it's Kendrick. You can go 4 years without release. You can go time without releasing music and drop and then shake the whole world up. Like that's the type of aura that you have. Same thing that could happen with, you know, in Drake's case, if they were like, don't drop music. It's Drake, bro. What? That's another Dark Lane demo tapes or Scary Hours 4 or whatever. Like that's nothing for artists. If when the artist becomes bigger than the label, that's where shit get tricky because labels can't really get you the way that they want.
Like the Drake like right now for that label.
Yeah,
like Drake,
exactly.
Like, they hold a lot of power.
A lot of power.
But Kendrick again is still a valuable commodity for them too, so they're gonna listen.
I think the fact that he has a number one song in the country and he has another one that was dethroned by this one to become the new number one is like, man, like I think he's gaining traction. Like I really want to know what happens if he says no, because I also feel like this might hint towards Kendrick might have some shit where he really wants to keep this going, and they're saying no, end it before things get worse, which sounds interesting. You know, I wonder what that could mean. You know, in terms of was he actually telling the truth, and do they know some things we don't know? I don't know.
Yeah, I feel.
I mean, see if it's true. I mean, look, I mean, there's still allegations, or just
right,
yeah, for sure. Yeah. But again, just for that business level, there's a lot. Like obviously now, there's more avenues for artists to kind of go around labels if they want to, but the machine is still very important. People understand the machine is a reason why a lot of artists get to where they do. And again, like if they show up, they could literally say you're not allowed to release any more music. And if he releases it on, let's say on one of these back. Kind of what do you call it? This SoundCloud or whatever. I don't know what his I don't know what his contract is, right? You don't know what the contract is, what the thing is. So it's a lot. But again, I'd be surprised if he comes out with a public statement. Maybe privately they'll sell it, just stop. A public statement retracting stuff, I think kind of goes against.
Public just seems so crazy to me.
I mean, it seems so.
I've never heard that before.
Yeah, like I don't think that'll necessarily help because the fan base will realize it's just corporate talk. You know what I mean? Like it's not.
Yeah.
Unless the sponsors ask for it, because at the end of the day, sponsors carry a lot of weight to you, right? So the sponsors ask for it. Like, hey, you got to do this.
I just told Jalen and Hayes, I was like, imagine if you were Drake and you understand that you have potential to make some history by beefing with Kendrick Lamar, but if it's gonna cost you some coins, or like how, like because of some things that you say, because Jalen was like, when you listen back to Drake's last diss. And those are the and you get the molestation thing, and that is like he dropped the ball on that one because he wasn't as accurate in why he was bringing that up as he thought, because he thought it happened to Kendrick, apparently happened to Kendrick's mom, and so like if you're a company, you're like, oh, damn, Drake, you shouldn't have done that one, buddy, because it's just like
he's too mainstream like pop for him to kind of getting that realm, right? If it feels like if 50 Cent does this, it kind of goes on brand.
If it's like an actual rapper that is like if it was like 50 Cent was a great analogy, honestly, Jalen, because like 50 would do something like that. You
He was
look
doing
back,
crazy stuff, but Reebok was still winning. But also
Yeah.
different time too. But
yeah, but I mean, 50 is just a genius at the end of the day. He knows marketing and business and all of the ins and outs, so he knows how not to sell himself short, essentially. But like you said, with Drake being more mainstream and pop and like that, it's a little bit different because like if like for example, Drake telling Kendrick to that they need a verse for the Swifties. I always every time I hear that, I think back to Drake's Pepsi commercial or whatever it was with Taylor Swift. You know what I'm saying? I'm like,
why do you think Jay-Z never responds in public to like when people call him out? It's never in public. He might do like a one hidden line in the song.
It's never there.
Yeah, it's never there right now. Obviously in the 90s when he was going with Nas and all that. But after a certain point, he understands Jay-Z, the brand, who he is. And also, he has to realize his wife's Beyonce.
Exactly. His wife.
That whole family is the entity of the brand. He's like, him responding to a rapper who could be look just as big, whatever, or near big. It's not worth it for him. That's what I thought at the start. I'm like, Drake, is a rap battle worth it? For certain, like, hip hop credibility, it is. But in terms of kind of the bigger thing, it depends on how you value it. Again, Jay-Z's at a place in his life where I don't really think he cares too much about what people say about his street cred or hip hop credibility. You know what I mean? He just had a different place in his life. It shouldn't matter to him, and rightfully so, I think. I think Drake kind of has to decide that too, where, hey, you could keep going back and forth, but at what cost, what price?
I just think with Kendrick, what makes this such an interesting thing is like he wasn't bothering people. He came out, he did like that. And then after that, like people were putting pressure on Drake and Cole to respond because Kendrick just said, I'm the best or not the best. I'm the best. And Drake took the bait. He did push-ups. He made a whole lot of fun about things. He brought up some things. And then he said, okay, keep poking me. And then he dropped the second one. To me, this beef would not be where it ended if Taylor Made didn't come out. I think Taylor Made was like, all right, bro. Not only are you talking shit using a AI version of my childhood hero, right? But then you're also like talking shit after the song ends, where you're saying, Dot, man, come on, man. Where are you, Dot? Like that poking, say, all right, wham, Euphoria. Wham. Like just you keep
Kendrick,
going.
For Kendrick to just forget, like, I think everyone expected Kendrick. He's gonna have more bars than him. Like he'll probably say some more intricate stuff. That's just Kendrick Lamar wordplay and all that, right? But if you just have a song that has a better hook that I'm kind of bop to and like makes you sing
wild.
Along. But Kendrick has this, because that's the one thing you would say. If someone told you Kendrick gonna have a better sing along or like better song than Drake,
I would have thought Drake would have had. I would have,
right? That's Drake's arena. So for you to beat someone in their specialty is crazy.
It's impressive.
That's
impressive.
Super impressive. But and then the label heads now have come up, and we'll see. It'll be interesting to see the next couple of days what happens.
Man, he might crash out. I don't know, man. I wouldn't be surprised if he crashed out.
Y'all see
that statement might come out. That statement might come out. It'd be so weird, but it might come out.
Did y'all see Metro's old tweets?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you. Someone said hashtag Metro Grooming wants some more. I'm like, whoa, Metro Grooming wants some more is crazy.
Now look, all I'm gonna say is crazy. I looked at the
comments. Careful what you tweet, y'all. They be living forever.
Be careful what you tweet.
Be careful. Yeah,
or like delete everything and then get famous.
Yeah, but Metro, for me, I was like, there is no way in hell, because I was checking the comments. The ones I saw, Metro grooming comments, metrosexual comments, like all of this different stuff. And then I saw people say, man, he was 18, bro.
That's crazy. People trying to defend that is crazy.
That would lead me to believe that, like Jalen alluded to earlier, it's a mix of Swifties, and people that genuinely just hate Drake. Because if you looked and read those damn tweets, and you mean to tell me, man, nah, he was 18, he was 19, bro.
People who found those tweets aren't like K-Dot guys or whatever. They're Drake haters.
Yeah,
K-Dot fans don't have time. K-Dot fans aren't really on Twitter like that, like Hayes was saying too. They're just
they're just vandalizing stores.
Great music. They like his music. It's cool. They don't really, be hating on people too crazy. It's like, sure, if something come out, they'll talk about it. But this is just a lot of Drake haters jumping on with this, because Drake did. I mean, they probably take an L on the situation.
Yeah.
Oh, real quick. We have an NBA update about Shams. The NBA is fining Nuggets star Jamal Murray for a substantial amount after throwing heat pad and towel on court. No suspension. Let's go. My game 3 is lit. Chat. But by the way, I'm going to Game 3. I got my tickets. I will be in Minnesota.
You check for him courtside. He will be there.
I don't know about courtside, but I'm definitely in the building. I'm definitely in the building for sure. Lock.
Right.
Yeah, it should be a good game. And right thing to the NBA. Hopefully, I mean, it should be a pretty big fine. Definitely 6 figures. I think he should be in 6 figures. Yeah, honestly, like I'm so cool if the NBA started doing like percentage of your income. Maybe you start getting like like 2% take. I don't know what it is. Like if it's something big like that, I don't know how the CPA works, but yeah, I'm just saying because that's how you really kind of can make the players not do it. Because I mean, finding Jamal Murray $50,000 when you're making upwards of $30 million a year, whatever it is, it's like okay,
I hear that.
Couple percent, 5%. Ooh, we talking crazy. I'm like, I'm never doing that again in my life. It's not worth it.
I mean, he shouldn't have done that. I mean, to be honest, like he shouldn't have done that to begin with. Like I couldn't even. There's certain stuff that NBA players do where it's like is indefensible, genuinely. Like even with like the Pat Bev situation and him saying, "Are you subscribed to my podcast?" I know for a fact that every person over there that was huddled up to interview Patrick Beverley for some reason, but was huddled up to interview Patrick Beverley. I know for a fact that not every single one of them was subscribed to his show. I know that. Like. There might have been maybe 1 to 2, but there's no way that everybody over because I don't remember seeing him ask anybody else if they were subscribed. You see what I'm saying? And then for him getting banned from ESPN and shit, I was like, I don't want to hear Patrick Beverley on national television ever again because there's no way that you're gonna be that disrespectful. Because
it's crazy that you like for someone to talk to you, you have to follow their podcast. Are we serious?
Yes, like
that's an insane gatekeep. That's an insane gatekeep to me.
I was like, and people that were defending Patrick Beverley, I was like, y'all are just like this is why America's just going to shit every day because it's just like you mean to tell me that Patrick Beverley has you defending his podcast that you ain't even subscribed to? Like, what are we doing? Y'all are defending Patrick Beverley in the comments. Ain't even subscribed to his podcast either. So it's like I see niggas. It's like he just defended his brand. No, bro. And now you ain't gonna never be on ESPN again to talk shit on Chris Paul's defense on national television. Great, phenomenal. But like even with Patrick Beverley saying the shit about I got the next 5 years. What has he done in that 5-year time? It's just like like you'd have been on 6 teams in 5 years. That's what has happened in that time. Unfortunately. So I don't want to hear like it was just clown behavior. Like Duke said, it was just clown behavior. Like I was just like you just lost the potential because for most NBA players, not most, but for certain NBA players, the transitioning period after you play is into broadcast and analysis and stuff like that, right? Like Tim Legler, Draymond's gonna be there.
Yep, Draymond
and the whole crew. Patrick Beverley could have been there. I would have been interested to hear that, but I'm like, you just ruin your bag or potentially ruin your bag post retirement.
And he played very well in the playoffs when they needed it. Like I'm sorry, he got them a game without Dame or Giannis.
Yeah, so it's like But the thing that annoys me the most about Patrick Beverley is like Duke said, he will be known as a great role player for sure. Because you can look at somebody like Patrick Beverley and be like, oh, he was a journeyman, whatever. But if you're for you to be able to stay in the league for as long as Patrick Beverley has been able to stay in the league, not to mention the fact that I'm pretty sure he went undrafted, went overseas and ended up getting like a 10-day put your foot in the door type deal, and then ended up paving out or carving out a good career post that. Like think about all the players, think about all the Hall of Fame players that Patrick Beverley has played with, like in his career. Harden. Houston Harden, right? Paul George, Kawhi, all the way up to Giannis and Dame now, Joel Embiid. Like, Broden been passed around like a blunt, but at the end of the day, it must be a good.
That's crazy.
Like, it must be a good damn blunt. It's got to be a good blunt. Like it's worth something. So, yeah, it's interesting. Players like Patrick Beverley, I cherish them because I look back into the last 10 years, and I'm like, we had like Lance Stevenson's at one point. The old generation had the Dennis Rodmans and the Rick Mahorns and whatever. But we got Patrick Beverley. We gonna remember him. What are we really gonna remember Patrick Beverley as? Because I remember at this point, every time I hear Patrick Beverley, I think back to Russell Westbrook being like, he tricking y'all, bro. He's just out there running around.
For me, I'll always remember the effort and the over the topness he brought to the game. his grit is definitely something there. He has had moments where he's played really, really, really phenomenal defense. And more so for Pat Beverley, I remember his story about how he got to the league and how he was able to have longer careers than a lot of other players. You know, like that does mean something.
It does.
How good of a player? I mean, he's a good player, but there's a lot of players better than Patrick Beverley. But he showed how to extend your career and find lanes from being undrafted to like really having a successful moment in the NBA. And that means something, you know?
He's shown us how to extend your career and how to extend your welcome with teams once you get there. that's what he showed us. Because for as many times as I've seen Patrick Beverley on a team and I've been like, okay, this might, you know what? Go get Pat Bev a ring this year. Pushes Chris Paul in the back, calls out a reporter, injures Russell Westbrook years ago. Like there's just so many moments where it's just like, damn, Pat, damn.
Pat's one of those guys where you love him when he's on your team and you hate him when he's not.
Yeah.
Fair.
I mean, he's one of those players.
And you know, like there's certain players, like think about like Dillon Brooks when he was in Memphis. Like Dillon Brooks could have been remembered for something more than being a troll and a joke of a player, because he was a very good defender, arguably their best perimeter defender in Memphis, right? Was not even close to their best three-point shooter, but for some reason he had the green light. It is what it is. And then you look at when he was going up against the Lakers, talking all that shit. I don't respect nobody until they give me 40. LeBron is old, whatever. And then for them to go out there and lose by 40 and then lose the series, and for him to miss the last two post-game interviews, I was like, all right, bro. So now you're going to talk all that shit and not even be man enough to stand on your own business? Like,
yeah. I hear you on that for sure.
I'm like, at least with like certain, like Lance Stevenson, if he was going to blow in LeBron's ear and call him or whatever, he was going to stand on it, even win, lose, or draw, right? Patrick Beverley, even in the series against when the Clippers played the Warriors and they had that big comeback when the Warriors had KD, I think it was 2019. In the first like couple games, everybody was wondering what the hell was wrong with Kevin Durant, because Patrick Beverley was playing so good at defense, and Patrick Beverley was talking his shit on the court, off the court, whatever. And at the end of the series, when Kevin Durant turned everybody's on their heads, Pat Bev and Lou Will, and that's one of the funniest post-game interviews I ever seen. We did everything we could. Like,
wow.
You know what I'm saying? So I was like, I respect them for being real about it, not running away like Dillon Brooks did after talking a big game for yourself and your team. Then you get mollywopped, and now you know where to be found. You disappeared. Like,
right.
So we need trolls in our generation, I feel like, but Pat Bev is going to be remembered for, you know what, chat, as we round off the show, everybody drop their favorite Patrick Beverley memory. As we round things up here.
For me, it's got to be, and unfortunately, this has nothing at all to do with his plays, but when he took the camera in the game where they got cold on the Lakers and was like, "It's in 4K, like it's right here." That's such a great meme, man.
It is. No, it is. That's a good one. Oh.
I think, I guess for me, it's kind of outside basketball. So just his quote when he was on the Clippers, "This is our city now." And we'll see how that kind of turned out. People are really hyped for the Clippers. Yeah, this is our city now. It's the Clippers' time. You know what I mean? They had the little run. Everyone's getting hyped just when the Lakers were still bad. And I remember when they got Paul George and Kawhi, he was just talking crazy. And then it worked out.
Put the Clippers on.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? I'm like, hey, he got quotables. Pat Bev definitely.
Also, the Curry one where he said, "This is my league now. Like right now, it's yours, but the next 5 years of mine." Hilarious.
Quotables.
That, and I remember that game. I remember watching that game, bro, because it was the first game of the 2020 season, 2019-2020 season. They played the Clippers. The Clippers blew the Warriors out, and I remember Patrick Beverley at the end of the game, because I think they were playing the Warriors at home. But at the end of the game, Patrick Beverley is on the sideline, and he's like yelling at the crowd. He's like, "Where y'all going? No, where y'all going? No, stay. This your team. This y'all's team. Yeah, where y'all go?" And then the 5-year thing happens. And then 2 years later, the Warriors win a championship, and Pat Bev is on his fourth team. It's crazy. It's wild. Patrick Beverley is a national treasure. Let's be real. He's got a lot of quotables. My favorite Patrick Beverley moments of his career were probably when him and Russ used to go at it in the playoffs. When there was no KD and it was just Russ and OKC drawing at Pat Bev all day. They both doing the baby celebrations back and forth at each other, both doing two smalls. like Patrick Beverley and Russell Westbrook's rivalry fed families at one point. It may not be giving you the most efficiency, but it fed families because it was entertaining as hell. But this is a great way to wrap up the show, ladies and gentlemen. Jalen, Gifted, give your final thoughts. Tell the people where to find you.
Absolutely. Tap in Gifted Hoops. I made a separate channel to break down music and other things. I did a review lately on the Heart Part 6. Very disappointing performance from Drake there, but that can be found at Everything Gifted. Main channel Gifted Hoops, where we break down basketball. I can't wait to be getting back to that. Game 3 is going to be a banger, so definitely tap into that game for sure. And yeah, that's me.
You can find me where you find the facts at, the truth. Not just made up allegations or made up stories, just the facts. Jalen Carter Music. We bring the facts. Or, from the logo, bring the facts. Any other shows will be popping up. And Playback Thursday, I'm gonna be on there for that Dallas game. To come in. We'll be talking facts. And just find me in Toronto where we speak facts. That's about it.
And for me, I am the host, ZZ Honcho. You can find me at ZZ Honcho on pretty much everything. This has been a great show. W host as always. W panelist as always. W chat. W from the logo. Appreciate Hayes for stopping by. Dub, we missed you. We'll see you next episode, brother. And y'all have a good night. From the logos out. Peace.